Kathy, Vic, deeply awake. Hello, in channel. I don't know. I guess I want to say I know that they've just given me a taste of what they're going to present. And they keep kind of deliciously saying, you are within the looking glass now. It is no longer that you are walking through it or suspecting it or puzzling how it is that you are here or that this is happening, but instead, well, here you are. We have talked about the hurly-burly land. We have talked about the hall of mirrors, of reflectivity. We'll review just a teeny tiny bit, okay? Reflectivity is the third dimension, basically. It is not engaging the heart, but seeing everything through mind and through projection of self, disconnected from the vehicle, basically, where divinity, identity, sexuality, all of these things are on the outside. All right? This was personified and given to the one before you as a vision of her face in shards of contiguous mirror shards. And she would move her head, and she noticed that these shards were moving together, and she understood this was her. There was no observer. There was only the image. It required full focus. And yet she understood that she had gotten there by using the pineal to look at the heart and the heart to look at the pineal. When she looked up, she disengaged from the heart, and she saw it. We've talked about layers, first, second, third. The first layer is your energy, your signature, your geometries, your numerology, your genealogy, your biologic Akash, your spiritual Akash, your galactic Akash, the whole enchilada. So that's a lot to fit into a car and take to the grocery store. One must have a way to manage among the others, and so one's energetic signature, not your energy, but the signature with which you write your checks, your life checks. Well, that is a combination of all those things, your various levels and akashas, and where your family came from, where your genetic material came from, but further, where your memories came from, where your soul came from, all of these things. Well, the thing is, in this whole of reflectivity, in this area where you have no idea that there is a core, and the second layer of how you feel among others becomes how you feel because there is no core, then what is projected, what you see, there is an understanding it's not real, and yet it must be seen as real because it's the only thing you can reference. And the information that comes to you is fragmented. It is not continuous, not contiguous. So it's very confusing. And we implanted the cure, didn't we? We explained it was in looking up from the heart, forgetting about the heart and just seeing with the eyes. You see, the heart is connected with the eyes. And through work and through practice and the gifts that have been given with the energy and the light and all those lovely things, well, then, there comes a time when you no longer see with your eyes, you see with your eye. And the best way to bring it into focus, the only way to bring it into focus, is to let this organ see, not these. See? But once here, well then, what's what? There is no frame of reference anymore, except when projections are made and they are no longer comfortable because they don't come from the heart. Whatever do I do? What is real? What is not? It doesn't need to be said. It is within every cell of your structure. Only love is real. The only law in effect is that of benevolence. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Within one shard, it is one way. Within one shard, it is another way. No one is whole, everyone is shattered. In their own way, in their own way. These are simple geometries which, if not seen through the quantum lens of the heart, appear to be prison bars. Yes, and sometimes, dear ones, the way in which the geometries are placed, there truly is affliction. And we can say that it doesn't take an astrologer to look at the chart of this one, the natal, to know. Oh. Yes. Never ending. An engine of discontent and peace. Of insult and forgiveness. Of sadism, masochism, release, and atonement. That gets old, because in the end it's a lot of energy to expend to simply have a human connection, don't you think? Yes, we think so too. So let it stand as a personification of the age, the closing of an age. The infancy, growth, womanhood, and death of Kali. Bye bye, Kali. Oh, poor Kali. Haven't we said that? Bye bye. Oh, you are so magnificent. And you are most magnificent when you are lying lifeless. Because Kali's punchline is, the only thing she longs for is death, and in death she is peaceful, finally. It is a relief to all, including the Kali. Don't you understand? Don't you understand? So let this stand as a little bit of a myth. This is what we have said about this one. And this is what she has bellowed into the camera. All of this stuff about me, consider it a myth. Consider it my thanatology, my, what is that called? The beginning of the things, the cosmology, my theology, my reality. Yes, okay. How funny to find there might be more than one. How funny to find there might be one so much bigger that it can contain innumerable expressions, some of which are more afflicted, some of which are more of an exercise. Yes, even this. So, it is time to stop focusing on the little things. And it is funny to say that focusing on a natal chart, is a little thing. Not a trivial thing, but in perspective, one begins to understand. storylines, timelines, potentials coded within the geometry. We have much to say about the eclipse, you know. What you wish to say today is you have 2 days. So, there are how many days until Christmas? How many days until your birthday? How many days until Labor Day of next year? It is very wise to urge the self to remember the future during times of change. The one before, 11:11. The one before you was saying, "Oh, you hold your hats." Just hold the phone. You ain't seen nothing yet. And the glee, the enthusiasm, the excitement. Oh boy, I cannot wait. I've been waiting a lifetime for this. And the gratification for having said many of the things that are happening now, where we will not say prophesied, but certainly could be seen, were mentioned and have come to pass or are coming to pass. So that is gratifying too, in that we understand that the group spasms that are going at each of the 11s, we have seen the multiples, the spasms that are being gone through. Well, you know, these are birth pains, and it's just it's nothing to worry about. You know, the water has to break, and then everything is going to be better. Papa will come around and realize that he must mature quite suddenly, and Mama will come to see that she has chosen well in her mate, and she is well pleased, and they will see God within each other. It's a beautiful thing, oh so beautiful. And this of course is our wish for every mated human being on earth. We wish for every single person on earth who is mated to find such exquisite and deep love for that mate. Isn't that the idea? How is your garden to grow if you have a property that is a desert? We ask you. Yes, there's the thought of the self-sustaining and to make sure that you can take care of yourself and all that and live off the grid and stuff like that. Well, that's a lovely thing. We agree completely. We wholeheartedly agree with unplugging from the monsters which have been allowed to metastasize. The parasites which are at this point so sluggish and big and stupid and drunk from blood that it would be inappropriate not to disengage them. It is an act of mercy. That is what the industrials are, you understand. They are a parasite. What do parasites do? Well, they find a compatible host and hitch a ride and take from that host invisibly for their own benefit. But some parasites do not have self-regulating mechanisms, and they will engorge themselves until they pop. Oh, that is sort of what you're witnessing. And you know, you can be out camping, having a lovely time, lovely time, and go 2, 3, 4 days, enjoying yourself and eating M&Ms and going hiking. And then one night at the campfire, take off your sock, and there is a huge tick dangling there. Well, thank you, dear tick, for getting so big. I didn't even realize that you had sucked my blood. I am simply trusting that you have not injected within my bloodstream an organism against which I will find hard to fight. So, I will trust you are benevolent, but you are no longer welcome. You've had your fill. And I can see that you have no control. You don't have a stop button, so unfortunately I must remove you. It may not be entirely pleasant for you, but looking at the situation, I believe that is a mutual thing, and so we will just proceed as we know we shall. But there are ways of dislodging such a thing with harm to none. Do you punish a tick? We ask. There are those who do. Throw it in the fire. It ain't worth nothing. We're just going to go on to hurt somebody else. When? Every creature has a right to live, to express as they see fit, and to change their minds if they have sentience, to actually change their expression. How does this come about? Transformation, maturity, evolution, and divine intervention. That's what it's called. But oftentimes only after the entity has placed themselves in a quite extreme position and can no longer go unseen or unfelt. So are we describing someone in your life who's bleeding you dry emotionally, sexually, energetically, financially? Do you light up a shutdown around the people you have to be around? Are there people you have to be around? Oh, what delicious questions to ask at the eclipse. But can you not see that this tick analogy goes far further? And we would say that anyone who is able to identify a tick in their lives and a parasite, well, dear one, there is no parasite that hitches a ride on an incompatible host. The host must be willing. And so imagine this is a time of just picking off ticks, maybe. You're going to feel a little crappy, maybe. You're going to get a little bit messy, grossed out, creeped out, maybe. And these bloodsuckers, well, you know, we are talking energy sucking. So we want to talk a little bit about the soul retrieval, because we talked a little bit about it and we didn't clarify. Okay, there is a common belief within the New Age community that there is a way that you can lose parts of your soul. Oh, no, 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 stop that right now. Stop it, that's silly. But if you were jumped and beaten in an alleyway and left for dead, well then, did the thief come in and take something from you in the middle of the night? Yes. Did they take something from you? Well, we would ask you to not be so concrete about it. Anything that happens like that is by agreement and request. Your agreement, your request, not consciously, solidly. You agreed to those tics. You agreed to this illness that follows being drained by tics. And you deserve a rest period after having restored your body to a state that is free of parasites. You're not retrieving parts of your soul that people have stolen from you. It's not like cotton candy that people can pluck off and eat. It's not like that. You yourself place stoppages and blocks within your energy after there are certain things that happen which you may not understand or be able to comprehend energetically even. They are stored. And when you are brave enough, strong enough, and wise enough to call these experiences into your awareness and to feel all of it. Oftentimes these things that have been discarded are the things that you cannot tolerate having done, having been, having said, having now had to live with. So we talk a little bit about the happinesses, yes. And we say there are gifts underneath the sun. It's better to be in the sun than not, yes. It is an honor, it's a privilege, it's a right, and it's a responsibility to be in that sun. Because the chords will be raining down, they've never been, they're brand new. Brand new. This is because the gradient is up and we can emit more. So we wish to talk a little bit about what you're seeing here, and then we are going to close. We're not going to do a long one. What you're seeing here is a very large entity who has individuated through time. This one, yes, part of the Jesus group, yes. Part of the Lumeria, yes. Maya, and you could say Celtic. As these memories flow, and as the galactic memories are given and reinforced and celebrated and weaved with contemporary and historic human physical existence. What emerges is not, well, I'll be a Leo now. Well, I'll be a Taurus now. Oh, I want to keep being a Pisces now. It's acknowledging how big you are. That these are choices. Choices. They are choices. They set potentials. They are choices. You are not satisfied with your life, with your expression. Well then, you are not. You are not trapped. You don't have to like it. There are some expressions which are not very easy. And they're not very likable. Pure and simple. We say this time has been about putting yourself on a cross, dangling, bleeding, dying, being taken off that cross, and waking up the next day and going to work, and doing that again and again and again in all of the areas of life where there are strictures, and everyone has their own. Roto-rooting, you could say, a lot different than simple spiritual weightlifting, which is just pushing against something that's dark and declaring your light. That's good, and sometimes you got to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. This is taking it a step further, and so we will give a little bit, the operating system. This is what is being called the riding point. What will ride point? Some amorphous blob that has no sexuality and has no taste really in anything, no true preference. Well, this is indeed what was riding point for quite a long time, and it took until, we would say, the 17 for the last of the truly the last of the second dimensional energy to be expunged. That is when it occurred, January 11. And after that there was a better flow, but it was a willful act that needed to be done, and it was profoundly symbolic, and it was right that it is done. It's over. So this has been the last year, has been that of rest and recovery and readying. Perhaps this is true for you and perhaps not, and it doesn't matter. Your journey is perfect as it is, keyed, and you are guided through your journey to see the significances, to see possibilities which these cannot, but this can, and can express through the throat in a balanced way. Once there are attributes that are taken on, once the heart is acknowledged. Don't think about it as opening up the heart, but simply acknowledging it as real, as your Alpha and Omega, as evidence that you are magic. Death and death is here. Death is here, Mama, this one's mama died 17 years ago today. About this time of day. And so this time of year is always very heightened, we would say, with very conflicted and difficult energies. Not easy time. 2 days from now, the eclipse. Much is to come. And the admonition we have been giving of fear not and be of good cheer, well, there will be many on earth who will not be able to believe anything but the truth of that admonition and become beacons for that song very soon. Be open, please, be open. And be of good cheer. Fear not.